You'll get an icon in the desktop and you need to right click on that. Ashish for you. So you'll get an icon in the desktop. You need to right click on it, click on the properties, go to general, open with, for you it will be internet browser. So you need to click on change, click on the down arrow. You'll get all the programs listed below. Select the Internet Explorer and click on OK. Okay, this application needs to be opened with Internet Explorer. It cannot be opened with any other browser. So try to change the default browser to Internet Explorer and click on apply and then OK. So once you have everything set up, you just need to double click on the icon. Just click on the continue to website, and usually it will ask you for the credentials, username and password. So already logged into the server, so it didn't ask you. Yeah, so it will be asking you for the credentials. So you need to provide the credentials of your laptop. So it will be your login username and login password, what you set for your laptop. Okay, and this needs to be an administrator user. So in your laptop, if you have only one user, then that is fine. There is no problem with it because you will be the administrator and you need to log in with those credentials. So right now, my laptop username is Mohan. I mean, the username which I use to log into my laptop is Mohan, and I use the same password. So once I log into the VMware server, I'll get an interface like this, and on the home page, it will show me my laptop configuration, like how many processors I have and how much of RAM I have and how much of hard disk I have it installed on my laptop and everything. Okay, and on the left side it will show you information about virtual machines. So right now I have all these virtual machines, so that is the reason why it is showing all the virtual machines. For you it will be just your PC name, and under the PC name you will not have anything because no virtual machines have been created under the inventory for you guys.
Okay.
Ashish, is your laptop Windows 7 or Windows 8? You don't have password for your laptop? Okay, do one thing. Go to control panel, users, and set the password. Or if you want, I'll make you as a presenter. Let me make you as a presenter. Just click on your show my desktop. You cannot log into the VMware server without setting the password. So you need to have the password set for your account. No, it's still not password protected. You need to set the password, Ashish. Yeah. Okay, now it's fine. Yeah. Okay, then you're good to go. Okay, so right now I have all the virtual machines, so that is the reason why under the inventory all the virtual machines are showing up, and these are the virtual machine names. So right now what I'll do, in my laptop I will create another virtual machine, and for that virtual machine I'll give the name as test. So this will be my VMware server name. It's the name which I'm giving to the virtual machine, which I'm creating it on VMware server. So that will be my name which will be given to the virtual machine. So like the way whenever you have your laptop, the way you set a name for your laptop, in the same way I will set a name for my virtual machine VMware server, and that name I'm giving it as test. And in that server I will give 40 GB of hard disk, or let us give 30 GB of hard disk. So out of 1 terabyte what is available on my laptop, I will assigning 30 GB of hard disk for this test server, and then I will also assign 1.5 GB of RAM. And this is minimum requirement to provide 1.5 GB of RAM, because Oracle 11j had to request at least 1.5 GB of RAM to install the software. So that is the reason why I will assign out of 8 GB. I have 8 GB RAM on my laptop. Out of 8 GB, I will assign 1.5 GB RAM. And also the RAM, whenever you start the virtual machine, then only it will use the RAM. Once you shut down the virtual machine, it will not use the RAM. It will give it back to the Windows, and your Windows will have all the memory available. Just virtual machine will use this memory whenever your Linux server is up and running. Once you shut down the server, the memory is given back to the Windows machine. So out of the total memory what I have, I'm assigning 1.5 GB of RAM for this machine, and then I will assign one Ethernet card, because I want to access internet from the virtual machine too. So that is the reason why I will add one more Ethernet card. So Ethernet card allows you to connect to the network, right? In the same way, even for my virtual machine, I want to connect from my Windows machine or from any other server. I want to connect to my database. So for that, I need to have Ethernet card set up on my virtual machine too. So that is the reason why I will add one Ethernet card. And then I will add one CD drive, which will be virtual again, and in that CD drive I will provide the ISO file such that it will install the Red Hat Enterprise Linux software or Oracle Enterprise Linux software. So to create the virtual machine, the first thing is you need to click on the virtual machine and click on create virtual machine. Once you click on the create virtual machine, it will ask you for the name. As I told you, I will have the name as test. I want to create a virtual machine name or a virtual machine server with the name test, and then it will right now on my laptop I have C drive as well as D drive. So that is the reason why it is showing me two, standard and standard one. For you guys, it may be just showing only one, which is standard, and it will show you the total capacity what your hard disk has and the available free space. So right now I will select the standard one. I have 363 GB of available free space. So within that I will just allocate 30 GB of space. So I'll just click on next. One second. Let me log out and log in again. There is some problem. Okay, so once I give the virtual machine name as test, I gave the virtual machine name as test, and I selected the standard C drive to install or to create my virtual machine on the C drive. The standard is C drive for me. So I'll just click on next, and then on the guest operating system you have to select the operating system which you are installing. So on the virtual machine the virtual machine which we will install will have Oracle Enterprise Linux installed on it. So we need to select Linux operating system here and then click on the version, and you have to select Red Hat Enterprise Linux 5 32-bit server. Okay, even though your Windows 7 laptop or even though your laptop is 64-bit, you have to select this Red Hat Enterprise Linux for 32-bit, because the ISO files what we have is for 32-bit, not for 64-bit. So you have to select Red Hat Enterprise Linux 32-bit and then click on next. Here we will provide the RAM which we want to allocate for the virtual machine. So as I already told you, I will assign 1500 MB of RAM for the virtual machine, and out of the 4 or out of the 2 processors what I have, I'll just assign only 1 CPU for this virtual machine, which is enough for us. So just click on next, and here you need to click on create new virtual disk. Here you have to specify how much of disk you want to allocate for the virtual machine. So as I already told you, 30 GB is enough. So I'll assign 30 GB, and then for the location, it's good, but you can go for the default location actually. So actually it will be stored under C colon. So it will be stored under C. You'll have a folder called as virtual machines. Within this virtual machines, it will create a folder called as test. Okay, it will be under C colon virtual machines. So I'm good with it. I'll just click on cancel. I'll go ahead with the default values. And next, under the file options, you need to click on allocate all disk space now. And then under the disk mode, you don't need to select anything. Rest of all, you should go for the default values. You just need to go for allocate all disk space now. And the last option under the policies, click on optimize for performance. So you have to select both these values. One is allocate all disk space now, and then optimize for performance. Then click on next. As I told you, we will add one Ethernet card. So we need to click on add a network adapter. Then it will be bridged. Bridged, it actually has 3 values. One is bridged, second is host only, and third will be NAT. So we have to select bridged. Bridged means whatever the internet connection which comes to your Windows laptop, the same internet connection will be shared with your Linux machine also. So if you select the bridge, you will have internet access too. But if you select the host only, you will not have the internet access. So if you want the internet access, you need to select bridged. So click on bridged and click on next. And then we will add one virtual CD drive, as I told you. But right now what we have is the ISO files. So what we have to do, we need to click on use an ISO image. So by default it will go for use a physical drive. So if you click on next, it will go for a physical drive. So you have to go for use an ISO image. So click on use an ISO image. Now it will ask you for the image file. So the ISO files which you downloaded from Dropbox, you need to copy the first ISO, server 1 or something, enterprise R4U1 or something like that. Under that, the first ISO file needs to be present on C virtual machines. Here you have to have the ISO file. So you need to copy the file into C colon virtual machines, first ISO file. No need to copy all the ISO files, just at least the first ISO file needs to be present on this directory. So by default, the first ISO file, it will select from this directory. You can't give any other place. So you have to copy the file into this directory, C colon virtual machines. So for you guys, under the standard, once you copy the ISO file to C colon virtual machines, you will have the ISO file here. But for me, let me check once. Okay. Even I have to copy the ISO file. I don't have the ISO file right now, so I need to copy the ISO file. To make it faster, I already have the ISO file on the E drive, so I'll copy it to the C drive. sorry, I have the ISO file here. Okay. Uh, okay. For you guys, once you copy the ISO file into C drive, if you click on the standard, you just need to click on the standard. On the right side, you will see the ISO file. For me, I have another standard version, so I'll click on standard one and I will select the ISO file. This is the only difference. You need to copy the ISO file to C drive virtual machines, and then if you click on the standard, on the right side you will see the ISO file. But for me, I will select the ISO file from the standard one. I'll I'll tell you why this standard one is created. In the future classes you'll know that. Just for now, I'll click on the standard one and I'll click on the ISO file. So first ISO file needs to be present under C virtual machines. Next, click on OK. Once you have the ISO file, just click on next. Then it will prompt you whether you want to add a floppy drive or not. So we don't require any floppy drive. So we'll just click on don't add a floppy drive and click on next. Click on finish. So we will have a virtual machine with the name test, and our operating system on that virtual machine will be Red Hat Enterprise Linux. It's an Oracle Enterprise Linux actually, but in the VMware server will not have any option to select Oracle Enterprise Linux. So Oracle Enterprise Linux, it's a flavor of Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So that is the reason why we will select it as RHEL 5. And then assign 1500 MB of RAM, 1 processor, 30 GB hard disk, and 1 Ethernet card. Just click on finish. So it will take maybe around 5 minutes of time because it needs to format the 30 GB hard disk. So like the way you have C drive, D drive in the Windows, in the same way, whatever the hard disk which we added to the virtual machine, we will divide that virtual machine into different drives. And each drive, in Linux perspective, it is called as a mount point. So out of this 30 GB, we will allocate or we will divide this 30 GB into separate mount points. So one of that mount point will be slash. In Linux, slash means it's a root directory which is similar to the C drive. So C drive is a drive where you have the Windows operating system files, correct? In the same way, whenever you install the Linux software, it will be stored under slash. This will be equal to C drive, okay? And this slash the way we have FAT file system and NDFS file system for the Windows, in the same way for the Linux we will have ext2 and ext3 file systems. So for the slash we will select the ext3 file system, which is a newer version. So we'll select ext3 file system, and this slash we will allocate 10 GB for slash. We'll do one thing, we'll just allocate 7 GB, not 10 GB, we'll just allocate 7 GB. And then we will create another mount point which is slash Oracle. And this slash Oracle will create with 10 GB space. And this will be used to store our RDBMS software. So as I told you, RDBMS is a software by using which we can create databases. So first we need to install the RDBMS software. So to store the RDBMS software, we'll create another drive or another mount point called as slash Oracle. And under this, we will install the RDBMS software. Next, we'll create another mount point with slash database. So as I already told you, database it's a collection of data. So all the data will be stored in some files, and all those physical files which are corresponding to the database will store it in a mount point called as slash database. So I'm creating another mount point with slash database, and for this I will give 4 GB of space. Then I'll create another mount point with /backup. This I will use it for the future classes to take the backup of the database, and for this I will allocate 3 GB of space. So 17, 21 and 24. Now we need to allocate swap. Do you know about virtual memory concept? So say for example, if you have 1 GB of RAM in your laptop, and if that 1 GB of RAM is not sufficient to load the programs, it will use a virtual memory concept. So what it will do, if 1 GB of memory is not sufficient, then it will store portion of data into the virtual memory. So virtual memory is nothing but it's a space which is allocated in the hard disk, which will be used as a virtual memory. So whenever the memory is not sufficient, the only important components will be loaded into the physical memory, and the rest of the unimportant components or unimportant data, it will be stored in the virtual memory. So in the same way, in the Linux operating system, we will have swap space. So whenever the RAM which we allocated, the 1500 MB, if that is not sufficient, it will use rest of the, if it needs more space, then it will use the swap space mount point. So for that swap, in Oracle, it should be double the RAM size. So right now, the RAM which I'm allocating for the server is 1.5 GB. So for the swap, I need to allocate 3 GB of space. (17, 21, 24, 27), and rest of the 3 GB I will allocate for /tmp. Like the way we have temporary folder for the Windows, we'll also have temp file system for Linux, and this temp file system I'll allocate 3 GB. So like this, I will divide my whole 30 GB. / for 7 GB, which is used to store the Oracle, to store the Linux software. / Oracle to store our RDBMS software. / database to store our data files. / backup to store the backup of database, and swap when our memory is not sufficient, and TMP for the temporary files. You can give any name to the mount points, but to make it readable, I'm giving the mount point names as / Oracle, / database and backup. In the real time, it will depend upon the architecture. So he'll design the mount points and he will name those mount points. Okay, now my virtual machine has been created. Once the virtual machine is created, once the status shows as success, you need to click on the left side. You need to click on the virtual machine, which is called as test. Once you click on the virtual machine test, it will show you the summary of this virtual machine. So if you see here, one processor is allocated and 1500 MB of RAM is allocated for this server, and also 30 GB of hard disk, one Ethernet card and all those things. So if you click on your virtual machine server, it will show you the details on the summary tab. Next, you need to start this virtual machine, meaning you need to power on this virtual machine. So if you want to power on the virtual machine, on the left you need to click the virtual machine, and then on the top there will be a power button or a play button. Just click on the play button, it will start the virtual machine. And even the power on status, it's showing as success. So now the virtual machine is powered on. Then you need to click on the console. Then for you guys, this is the first time you're getting the virtual machine. So when you click on the console, it will prompt you to install the plugin. So on the blue color, you'll have some link to install the plugin. Just click on the install plugin, and once you install the plugin, you need to restart the browser. Then after that, you will also see two square brackets here, and then you just need to click on this square bracket. So once you click on the square bracket, you'll see the window popping up, and this will be your virtual machine. Okay. So once you click on the square brackets, it will prompt you to install the Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Click enter. So I pressed enter and I got this second window. Now it will ask you whether we want to test the CD drive for any errors or not, something like that. So you just need to click on the skip. If you click on OK, it will take 1 to 2 hours to check the media. So better you click on skip. So just use the right arrow to toggle the buttons. So right now it is highlighted on the OK. It is highlighted with the gray area. So if you right click, if you select the right arrow, it will go for skip. So first, this is, initially you will have some problem with it. So if you see here, my mouse pointer is on the Windows machine. So it is not highlighted on the Linux machine. You need to click on this window. Once you click on the window, then you can toggle the buttons. Right now it is highlighted with OK. Just click on the right arrow. You will have the skip highlighted. Now click on the enter button. This will select the skip button. Now it is skipped. Okay. You need to click on next here. Select English, click on next. US English, next. Yeah. Here it will ask you to overwrite all the partitions or to erase all the partitions. Yes, just click on yes. Yeah. Now here you should not go for a default layout because I already told you how to create a layout. So we'll use that layout. So I'll click the drop down list. I'll click on create custom layout because we want to create a custom layout by creating some mount points. If you select the default, it will just create 3 mount points, slash, swap and temp, and only those 3 partitions will be available. So we have to go for a create custom layout. Select the create custom layout and click on next. Here it will show you the 30 GB hard disk which is allocated for the Linux machine. Now click on this free space and then click on new, and here you'll specify the mount point. So as I told you, it's similar to the C drive and D drive. So first slash, and it will be ext3 file system, and I will allocate 7 GB of space. So I'll just give it as 7000 MB, which is approximately equal to 7 GB. And then you need to click on OK. So you have slash mount point with 7 GB of space. Now you need to click on free again. Click on new. Again you need to select another mount point which is slash Oracle to store the Oracle binaries or the RDBMS binaries. So for this we'll give 10 GB of space. So 10,000. Click on OK. Again click on the free space. Click on new. Select slash database. So for this we'll give 4 GB of space to store the data files which will have the actual data corresponding to the database. So 4 GB, click on OK. Click on the free space again, click on new. File system type, select as swap, and we have to allocate. If you look at the mount point, it will not be Under the file system, you have to select the swap. So you'll not have a mount point with the name as swap. The file system type will be swap. So you need to select the file system type as swap, and the swap space needs to be double the RAM. So it should be 3 GB. I'll give it as 3100, 3.1 GB, and then click on OK. And then 6.6 GB of free space is available. I'll click on new. We have to add one more mount point /backup, and this /backup I'll give it as I'll give it as 4 GB. Even for /backup, I'm allocating 4 GB of space. Next, rest of the 3 GB or 2.6 GB which is present, I'll allocate for the temp file system. So even for the temp, it will be ext3 file system. You just need to click on /tmp, and then you have to specify fill to maximum allowable size. That means how much of free space is left, allocate the rest of the free space for /tmp, and then click on OK. So this will be our file system layout as I told you. Then highlight slash and click on next, because we need to install we need to use slash to store the Linux software. So that is the reason why I'm selecting slash and click on next. Then click on next again. Yeah, here you'll go ahead with the default values, but for the virtual machine name, so this name, whatever the name which we given, the test is given for the virtual machine which is present in VMware server. So under the VMware server, it needs to identify a machine with some name. So the name to identify under the virtual machine, I gave it as test. But this will be your laptop. I mean, like it will be similar to your, if you have the Windows laptop, you'll have a name given to that Windows laptop, and that name will be, even for the virtual machine, will give some name. So for this one, I'll give it as test.fortechbeast.com. So I'm just giving the name as this one. You can give any name whatever you want. I'm giving the name as like this. Just click on next. Time zone, you can select whatever, I mean, like in which time zone you are. Mine will be EST, so I'll just go ahead with New York. Click on next. Here you have to specify the root password. It is similar to your administrator account in Windows. Like the way you have administrator account in Windows, in the same way you will have root user in the Linux machine. So we'll specify the root password. By default, the username will be root. So you have to just specify the password for that root user. You can give it as Oracle or whatever password you want. So I'm giving it as an Oracle so that I'll not forget the password, and then I'll click on next. Actually, you can click on customize now and select the packages which are required, but we can install this later. It will take some time. So we'll just click on customize later and click on next. Click on next again and just click on continue. So it probably take 10 minutes of time to install the Linux software.
Mohan, I am not able to see the ISO file on the C drive virtual machines while installing the VMware.
Okay, let me make as a presenter, we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to click on the standard.
Yeah, just a minute. Standard, yeah.
Click on virtual machine.
Nothing is there.
Okay, okay. You gave the virtual machine name as, okay. Do one thing. You need to restart the,
Laptop?
no, hold on. It's not the ISO file you're going for. Just click on cancel.
Okay.
This is not the ISO file. This is the virtual machine. I mean, like the 40 GB space what you're allocating, it will be
Yeah.
stored in this file, test.vmdk. This is
Next.
not the ISO file. No. Click on the file options.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Allocate all this space now and click on the policies
Okay.
and click on optimize for performance.
Oh, okay. Sorry, sir. Next, right?
Yeah. Yeah, same thing. Add in it. Just, yeah. Use an ISO. Click on don't add a flower pin.
Yeah.
No. Go back and add a USB. It will be helpful for you to copy the files. Sometime.
Okay.
Yeah. Click on finish. Click on the details. Click on OK. మళ్ళీ మీరు స్టార్ట్ చేయాలండి ఫస్ట్ నుంచి.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I think I'll start it later then.
It's better you restart the laptop once. I guess
Okay, yeah.
it could be the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not created, right? Right now? I mean,
No.
new virtual machine.
No, it's not created.
Yeah. I'll restart that another day.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Once it prompts for you to insert another disk, disk 2 to continue, you need to right click. You're able to see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. The thing is, like, if you see here, my mouse pointer is in black color. So if I have to go for Windows, you need to click on Control Alt. So on the bottom, if you see to return to your computer, press Control Alt. So we need to press Control Alt, then the mouse pointer will become white color. So now it is highlighted with the Windows machine. Just this is for the installation part. Once you have the installation, we'll install one of the software which will make easier to copy files and everything. Just for now, you need to click on Control Alt to highlight your mouse pointer to the Windows machine. Now right click the CD drive. On the bottom right side you have the CD drive symbol. Right click the CD drive. Click on connect to disk image ISO file, and then it will ask you whether you want to disconnect. Yes, click on yes. Then it will open a browser. Now you can select your software or ISO files, rest of the ISO files from downloads folder or anywhere you want. So the second disk ISO file is present in this folder. I'll select this one and click on open. So that is the reason why only first disk needs to be on the standard location, which is C virtual machines. Rest of the disk can be on any other location. Just click on OK now. Yeah, Ashish.
I just installed it. So నేను ఇప్పుడు మళ్ళీ మీకు చేయమంటారా విఎంఏ అది ఇన్స్టాల్ అయిపోయింది 100% వర్చువల్
Okay.
మిషన్. సో ఇదంతా ఇప్పుడు చేయమంటారా తర్వాత చేయమంటారా ఆర్కుల్ ఇన్స్టాలేషన్ అంతా?
You can continue. ఇప్పుడు మీరు చేసేసేయండి.
షూర్. ఓకే.
Yeah. ఆశిష్ అండ్ శివ మీ ఇద్దరికి సీక్వెల్ బేసిక్స్ ఐడియా ఉందా? సీక్వెల్ క్వైరీస్ కానీ?
యా బేసిక్ ఐడియా ఉందండి నాకు.
ఆశిష్
తెలుసుగా అంత ఐడియా లేదు. కావాలి చదువుతా ఇక్కడ కూర్చొని అంతే. నేను ఎలక్ట్రికల్, సో అంత నాకు ఐడియా లేదు.
ఓకే ఓకే యా ఐల్ టేక్ కపుల్ ఆఫ్ క్లాసెస్ ఫర్ దట్, నాట్ ప్రాబ్లం.
Okay.
సేమ్ ప్రాసెస్ రిపీట్ చేయాలండి. కాకపోతే ఈసారి మాత్రం ఇఫ్ యూ రైట్ క్లిక్ ఆన్ ద సిడి డ్రైవ్ సింబల్ you'll not have the connect option. So you need to click on the disconnect first. First disconnect చేసి మళ్ళీ connect అవ్వాలి. So first click on the disconnect and again right click on the CD drive. Now you will have the option connect to ISO file. Select the third disk and click on open. Click on OK. Yeah. So it's prompting for the fourth disk. Repeat the same steps. First disconnect and connect.
ఓకే మరి
Yeah. Now we just need to click on the reboot. Installation is completed. Yeah. We need to click on forward. Agree the license. Click on forward. Yeah, here you need to disable the firewall. The reason is because in order to connect to the database from another server or from another machine, you need to have some ports open. Then only you can connect to the database. So instead of configuring, if you enable the firewall, all the ports will be closed by default. So we need to configure some of them to open the ports again. So all this in the real time will be taken care by system admin. So for us, for now, to practice, we'll just disable the firewall because we don't want to configure all those ports to be open which are required. So better we'll just disable the firewall, click on forward, click on yes, and even the security Linux setting, these both needs to be disabled. One is firewall and the other one is secured enhanced Linux. So even this one needs to be disabled. Then click on forward. Please remember these two needs to be in disable state. Just click on forward again. If the time is displayed wrong, just set it correctly. So 14. Okay, I'll just click on forward now. Yeah, here it will ask you to create any other user if needed. So right now we are not interested in creating any other users. We'll just click on forward. Click on continue and click on forward again. Click on finish. Again it will ask you to reboot the reboot the virtual machine. Just click on OK. Yeah. So now you have the virtual machine setup. Everything is installed. The Linux is installed, not the Oracle. Just the Linux is installed now. You need to provide the username and password to log into your virtual machine. So the username will be root because this is the only user which is created right now, and the password already given it as Oracle. So I'll give that credentials and I'll log into the server. So this will be my VMware or virtual machine with the Linux installed on it, and this is a this is a desktop for the Linux server. Now, but in the real time, you'll not have access to this graphical user interface. So the server will be sitting on some other location. So think that this server, which is called as test, it is located on different location. So, and your Windows laptop is your office laptop. So if you want to connect from your laptop to this server, we will use another client software. One of the software which we can use to connect to a remote machine is PuTTY. It's, I mean, like you already know, maybe it's a free software. You can just download it from Google. So I have already the PuTTY. It's an exe file. You can just download it and you can use it straight away. So I'll open this PuTTY and then just click on run. So don't worry about this machine, just close it out. So it will be up and running anyway. Okay, so the virtual machine is still powered on. So I don't want to use the graphical user interface because in the real time we'll not have access to the graphical user interface. So the only thing is using PuTTY we'll connect to the server, and this is called as an SSH client software. So using this client software we'll connect to the server. In order to connect to the server, we need to know the IP address of the machine or the host name. So the host name which I gave it was test.4techbees.com. I'm not sure whether I can connect to this using the host name or not. Let us go ahead and check it out. Okay, it is not able to connect, I guess. Okay, I'll just click on OK. So we need to connect to the virtual machine using the IP address. So first we need to get the IP address of this virtual machine. So like the way you have IP address for your Windows machine, you'll also have IP address for Linux machine. So I need to right click, open terminal. So this will give you a character based console within the virtual machine to type in the commands. So right now, if you want to know the IP address of the server, the command is ifconfig. Like the way you have ipconfig in Windows to get the IP address, we will have ifconfig in Linux to get the IP address. Okay, so this will be my IP address, 192.168.1.107. So using this IP address from SSH client software, I will connect to the virtual machine. So you have to give the IP address 192.168.1.107, and SSH by default it will use port 22. So even in the real time we'll go for port 22 only. Just click on open. So from Windows machine you are making a connection to the server. So from Windows machine you are making a connection to the Linux machine using port 22 and SSH protocol. Now it will ask you for the username again, login as. So give it as root and the password will be Oracle, which I set it. Okay, so now I logged into the server. The moment I log into the server, I'll get a prompt. On the left side you will see as which user you logged into the server. So as root user I logged into the server. So that is the reason why it is showing me as root. And then @ host name. The host name which I gave it was test.4techbees.com. So for that the short name is test. So that is the reason why it is giving the host name as test. Always the host name will be given in the shortcut form. So that is the reason why it is showing it as test. Okay. Now, as I already told you, if you want to highlight mouse pointer in the Windows machine, you need to Control Alt. then only it will toggle back to the Windows machine. So if you don't want to, like keep on pressing Control Alt every time. And also one more thing, if you want to maximize the screen for the virtual machine, you cannot maximize. It will be of this size only. So to overcome these problems, we have another software called as VMware Tools. So we need to install that VMware Tools into this virtual machine. So to do that, on the browser, if you go to if you see here on the left side, I selected test server, and if I click on the summary tab, on the right side there will be an option with blue color saying install VMware Tools. So you can click on this one. The moment you click on install VMware Tools, it will create a folder or a zip file. Actually, it will mount an ISO file into the virtual machine. So right now this is a ISO file it mounted, and this has a zip file, VMware Tools -some version, and then GZ file. So you need to unzip the file first. So you need to right click on this GZ file, click on extract to, and just select the desktop and click on extract. And also if you see here, I cannot copy this line 192.168.1.7. I can copy it, but if I want to paste it back into the Windows notepad, I cannot do it. See, it's not coming up, the IP address. So once you install the VMware Tools, you'll be able to copy from virtual machine to Windows laptop. So even that can be done once you install the VMware Tools. So right now the extraction is done. It has extracted the file to the desktop. This is the folder VMware Tools -distribution. Now you need to open this folder, and the moment you open this folder, a browser will be open and it will show you the folders. Now within this browser, I'm not pressing the right click on desktop. Within this folder, I'm pressing right click, and you need to click on open in terminal. So what this will do, it will open the character based terminal from this folder. So if you look at this one, root@test. Root is the user who logged into the server, and @test is the host name. But this is the folder where you are present now. So if you right click on desktop and click on open terminal, you will get the terminal from desktop itself. Tilt means it's a tilted symbol. In Linux, tilt means it's a home directory for the Oracle user. So by default, on the desktop, if you right click on open in terminal, it will open that from the desktop itself. So right now I want to open the terminal from VMware Tools distribution folder. So that is the reason why I right click from that folder and open the terminal. Now there is a executable file called as vmware-install.pl. Using this executable file, you need to install the VMware Tools. So to execute this file, the command will be /vm, and you can press tab. It will take the rest of the file name. So just type in 2 characters of the file name and just press tab. It will give you the entire file name, and then click on enter. This will install the VMware Tools. For each and everything, whatever it is asking for the input, just keep on pressing enter. Okay, once it installs the VMware Tools, it will ask you for the resolution. So usually 1024 by 768 will be the best resolution for most of the laptops. So just go for 12 and press enter. So I'm selecting the 12th option now, which is 1024 by 768, and then click on enter. Okay, it's done. To affect the changes whatever you made, by installing the VMware tools. If you want to reflect the change, you need to log out and log back. So if you see here, still I'm not able to toggle from Windows to virtual machine without pressing Ctrl Alt. I cannot move the mouse pointer beyond this point. So I have to log out and log in. Yeah. Okay. So now if you click on maximize, see, now I can maximize the screen. Before I was not able to maximize the screen. And not only this one, I can also copy the IP address and paste it back to Notepad. Not only that, I can toggle from Windows to Linux without pressing Ctrl Alt. So these are the advantages of VMware tools. Okay, and one more thing, the virtual machine, this one, it's a physical server. Think this as a physical server, and mostly will not be using this terminal. We'll be using PuTTY to connect to the server. Okay, PuTTY is the client software which is present in Windows and which makes a connection to the server. Okay, I'll wind up the class and I'll continue tomorrow with the Linux commands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you have any problem in installing, just give me a call.
Yeah. I mean, are you going to upload this?
Yeah.
Recording today?
Yep,
No,
I'll upload it straight away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay then. And one more thing, I'll create another folder with this with the name classes, and I'll upload the videos into that folder. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Within the software folder, you'll have another folder with the classes name.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay then. Bye.
Tomorrow same time, right? 2 o'clock.
Yeah. 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Sure, ma'am.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay then.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Yeah.